Next up is RJ Kopchak from Cordova. I just talked to him, met him for the first time here about 30 seconds ago, and he said...
we're old friends.
Yeah, we're old friends now. I've already heard all his stories. I don't think...
You heard him, not from me.
But he fished Southeast for 40 years. He's retired now, and I told him you can fill in the details of all your lives, because I don't know him. RJ?
Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right, thanks. All right, well, let's see if we can do this. Good evening, and I want to thank everybody that's helped organize this. I work on organizations for other stuff, and it takes a lot of effort. This is pretty awesome, so thank you all for putting this together. So I fished out of Cordova on and off for almost 40 years, gill netted in the early days, did some seining and crab. I run boats from Seattle all the way up to the McKenzie River Delta, so the entire circumnavigation of the state, and love the water. I'm going to talk to you tonight. It's not a talk, it's a poem. I'm going to talk to you tonight about friends of mine and the things we've done. This is about Tony, Vince, and me. Well, we left the anchorage at slack tide. The bar was huge with swell. They stood on end, they crested large. No place to pause or dwell. There are 2 boats just ahead of me, and 2 I just saw aft. They seem to be the Kasia type. They're shy and timid craft. Well, Vince and Tony, they timed it just right. They cleared the brakes just now. They're behind that wall of water that's heading towards my bow. And the 2 boats just behind me, well, they turned and scurried home. The swells, they turned to breakers. The walls, they're churning foam. Well, I pushed the throttle forward and the smoke hole notched and some, and the bow goes up and up and up and then over, and I'm glad that that is done because now it's Tony, Vince, and me. We keep nosing out the bar, and the tide is turned, and the swell is up, and the breakers, they're near and far. God. Well, we tried to turn around just once. No way to get back in, so we head for deeper water. It's that or sink and swim. At least it's June, there's lots of light. The net's a great sea anchor. Well, we make deep water, we set the gear. We clean up our boat, we thank her. Well, there's only one safe place to be, and that's secure within the bunk, while swells break off the bow and the air's filled with junk. But about 5 hours later, when the wind and the swell die down, I check my net in wonder at the fish that I have found. Well, there's at least 500 big fat reds. They're tangled in my web. I pick for hours. I sell the fish and then head home to bed. And as for Vince and Tony, well, they caught more fish than me. They have the same sea story to share with friends they see. Tony, Vince, and me. So I don't know if you guys know the difference between a fairy tale and a sea story. It's subtle, but it's real. A fairy tale starts off once upon a time, right? Well, a sea story starts off, this ain't no shit. That's the difference. This one's called Crossing Strawberry with Buck. Well, the fog bank's just outside of me, and there's a fog bank just within. And if this old boat don't get me home, I swear to God I'll swim, because she's listing some to starboard. And the bilge pump, she seems too slow. The swells come up. The bar looks bad. The wind, it's begun to blow. But the fish are cold within her hold. The gear's tied down on deck, but if I don't catch this tide across, I'd likely ground and wreck. The sandbars seem to all have moved. The channel's changed her course. I've got a breaker off my stern, but I swear to God I've seen worse. There's just static on the radios. Buck's the only one around. And I'm halfway through the bar right now, but almost run aground. It's another 100 yards to calm. The inside waters call. The engine's hot. The tanks are low. I pray that she don't stall. And now the big one in this set, well, it towers just behind and the stern goes up and the bow plows in and I almost lose my mind because there's water everywhere. The deck is all aslosh, the hatch afloat, the scupper's full. The stern is half awash. But now I'm in where the water's calm and the channel, it's marked ahead. Another hour and maybe two, I'll be home in bed. Crossing the bar with Buck. So Cordova is a funny little town. It's just wonderful. It's in the middle of nowhere. The only way you can get there now is by commercial jet or by private boat. There's no ferry in or out. This is the Alaska gang sign, right? That's Alaska. Cordova is right at the farthest north point of the Pacific Ocean, on the northernmost point of the Gulf of Alaska, where it blows a little now and then. The highest mountain range that sits on the coast in the world wraps around where I live, including Mount St. Elias. So anyway, I talk a little about storms because they seem to land there. This is called Wingham Island Blow. When the wind comes up, there's hell to pay down near Kayak Island and Controller Bay. There really is no place to hide, to feel real safe when there's storms to ride. But behind Wingham Island, way up close, I've spent some time with fisher folk. A 2-day trip, late fall one season, turned into a week for some good reason. A storm like few been seen before. Well, it blew in from the Gulf, came right on shore with wind to 90 and a huge black sea. We quick set course for the island's lee. And then with the anchor down and a storm watch set, we counted our provisions with some regret. The wind and the swell kept us from fishing, and the storm didn't break, and we were wishing that the cook had packed a few more things like bread and eggs and chicken wings, because the bread ran out on the second day. Oh man, the oatmeal and beans soon followed. Crackers, Spam. The walnuts are gone. My cheeks, they're drawn and hollowed. And then it dawns upon our minds, our want can soon be filled. Bait octopus, all you can eat. Yeah. And we were truly thrilled because hidden in the survival drawer, there was rice and soy and oil. You just put it all in one big pot, add the octopus and boil, at least until the 6th long day, when the recipe starts to fail us. But a squawk and a squeal on channel 16, the Coast Guard starts to hail us. We're overdue. The wives are worried, but the storm is finally broke. We head to town, clean up the boat, dine on burgers, fries, and Coke. Wingham Island Blow. So there's this 70-mile piece of river delta that runs along this northern area, and it runs east and west. You think it's going to run north and south, but it's strange. It runs east and west. And when the winds pile up there, it gets really strange. This one is called the Head of the Beast, and it's about, again, one of the storms that seem to come up. Excuse me. Well, the winds come up, and the swell has too, and it's time to leave. And for the sake of the crew, we'll head to the bar. We'll set a course straight east. It's the best place to anchor toward the head of the beast. Deep gray clouds that roll and boil pour over Kayak Island like a snake uncoiled, and the hiss of the wind is like an adder's breath with a similar promise of cold, slow death. And you keep pounding on through the surf and the swell toward the safe haven from this breath from hell. And mariners know, and most would say, hell's a flameless place with freezing spray, where there's holes in your boots and the rain gear leaks and there's froth blowing off of the cresting peaks of 50-foot swells that have no end. Hell's no place we want to spend any more time than we already have. So you keep pounding on through, though you can't see a thing, past the rocks, through the surf and the spray and the sting. Because you know in an hour, if all goes right, and the boat holds together through the dark of the night, and the bilge pump keeps pumping, and the motor don't quit, well, you'll slide past the rocks up behind the spit, where you'll find calm water and get the anchor down, till the wind quits blowing, and you can head to town. Head of the beast. How are we doing on time, gang? I don't want to run over and... One more? Cool. You're going to miss out on Barney's Hole. Catch me tomorrow. I got a couple others, but I want to give a quick one here to all of our friends that have been in the industry and passed on, especially my friend Jeff Van Dyke, a neighbor who just concluded his time on Earth. So this is called The Fishing Life. Well, the fishing life is funny. It never is the same. There's days of calm and friendly seas and storms that kill and maim. But the fishing life is what I need to sit within my boat and dream and cast those dreams into the sea to see what she will give to me. And when it's time to pull the net and pick that last and final set, I'll think of all it's meant to me, the storms, the calm, the friendly seas. And when I pull the anchor line and haul that hook one final time to join all those who went before forever fishing just offshore, I'll think back on all its cost, of all the friends that I have lost, of that elusive magic set, and all those fish I tried to get. I'll set a course for that great port, God's sheltered bay, our last resort. Then I'll count my fish one final time and lie to all the friends I find. And I expect I'll find a few. They'll be smoking rope and drinking brew and baiting hooks and mending nets and stacking pots with few regrets. We took that chance, placed our bets, lived our lives with few regrets. A finer life you'll never find than soaking nets and casting lines. Fishing life. Thanks, guys.
My name is Raymond Chorneau.
Okay. Is this your first time here?
Not my first time, no, but first time coming to the Fisher Folk Poets, you know. Enjoyed it last night. I had a friend who was reading, Duncan Barry. He's from, I mean, he lived here and fished here and now lives a little further south down the Salmon River. But he came to read, and so I was compelled to come and join. And so it was a pleasure, yeah.
Any surprises?
A lot of people my age who have fought the good fight and lived to tell about it, you know. So it's always a pleasure to look into those faces and see the truth, you know. So it's an authentic gathering, you know. So,
Authentic?
authentic, yeah. The characters. So I'm as much taken by the faces as by the poems themselves, you know. So, but I'm glad that they're still doing it. So, anyway.
Where are you from?
Well, I live in Portland now, yeah. But I come from the East Coast, so.
I have a feeling you have quite a story.
I do, but we don't have time.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.